Let's try that again. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Peacock tongue session. This is a little different in terms of the setup this morning than normal because my camera person isn't here. So we're experimenting and doing everything ourselves because we will be traveling in early April. And what we hope to do is wherever we are, we're able to do Zoom sessions with you. So we're practicing doing this on our own for once or twice, and we'll see what happens. I think it'll be just fine. So in terms of this week, this has been a very busy week for us. We continue to work on the website. We had some interesting things happen this week. We had a couple people come in Thursday, and they came in apart, so we didn't realize they were together until about 30 minutes later. And the lady comes in looking at all the boards, first timer, trying to get a sense of the shop. And then she says to me, I like oolong teas. I said, well, that's great. You've come to a shop that has one or two. And trying to get her placed, ended up with Rising Phoenix. Great place for a first timer to start off in this shop if they like oolong teas. Half hour, she's going through it slowly, and she's clearly using many of the quality arena techniques we've talked about. And so actually, Xiaobei was paying attention and she was surprised. I was also surprised as Xiaobei told me about the situation, but you know, people are other places and they drink tea and they've learned some of the techniques. So then her partner comes in and Xiaobei starts talking to the partner, and excuse me for letting people in here because I'm doing it all right here. The partner and Xiaobei start talking, and it turns out he's interested in red teas and he wants to buy Tiffany right away. And so we're now on alert because it's unusual somebody comes in and wants to buy at that level right away. Then in further talking with this couple, they said to me the following thing. They said, do you have anything really special? Coming into this tea shop and asking that type of question is very unusual. So I didn't quite know where this was going to go, but obviously on alert now. And then he mentions that they're from Portland. So right away, I had a sensibility that maybe somebody who is a very good customer from Portland had actually recommended them to come to the shop. And so I asked, and sure enough, and they wanted to buy at the very top levels. And so we had a very great conversation about tea in general. We had a great conversation about appreciation of tea. And then they repeated the story because they were at the session with this tea master in Portland when one of our customers unrolled or rolled out Rapture. And the guy came to a dead stop and said, where did you get this? And they were at that session. So it was just very interesting. The Sophie's teas are beginning to pick up some traction in other places. So it's very nice. And thank you all as you've recommended customers into the shop. We really appreciate that. And I'm still letting people in, so I apologize. I'm slightly, okay, now we're in good shape. All right. So what else has happened this week? Well, we've gotten all the packages ready for the tea family that has memberships. And so for those of you who are coming in to pick them up, they'll be ready. If you want them sent, please let me know. A couple of you have already done that, so appreciate that. Due to the influence, all of you are extremely important, of course, but due to the influence of one of the important people, we actually turned the focus a little bit more on green tea in the second quarter. So you'll see more of those selections. And speaking of green tea, that's what we're doing today. So today is a Peacock Tongues Day. Oh, and I've got to give a shout out to one more individual, and that's Don Chu. Don, thank you very much for your help with the labels. Don is helping me, or helping us, automate the process. Slowly, step by step, we're trying to come into the 21st century in every aspect, including the web itself, which we're working on hard, and then Don helped with labels. So you'll see that on your packages. And we're very appreciative because that did shorten the time to prepare everything. All right, Peacock Tongues. Peacock Tongues is from Anhui Province. It's an Anhui green. So what are the other Anhui greens in the shop? So Wong's Creation. We've talked about Wong's Creation many times. Wong's Creation is the long-leafed green. It's a gated community. You can't get in there unless a farmer comes and meets you at the gate. And that's really to prevent theft of the stock that they have within that area. Premier's Choice is an Anhui tea, an Anhui green, I should say. There's plenty of other Anhui teas in here, but not plenty of other green Anhuis. So obviously Chima Needle, Vortex, those are reds. So Anhui is a big tea producing province, and Peacock Tongues is not less famous than these other teas. It's not produced in the volume that some of the other Anhui teas are produced, but it's still famous. And it's famous because the leaf buds are so big and they give a very distinctive taste, which you'll tell me when we go through the process. There's no special characteristic in the processing. In other words, it's the usual of you pick, you wither very quickly, and then you get it to heat. And this is very high heat, between 300 and 400 degrees heat. And as a reminder, what are you trying to do with heat? You're trying to denature or to kill the oxidation that occurs if you damage the leaf. So there's an enzyme. You're trying to denature that enzyme is what you're trying to do. The shaping, so we've seen that in many of the greens that the shaping occurs after the frying step. In Peacock Tongues, that's not the case. It occurs just like Dragonwell in the same step. In other words, when they're applying that hand heat, when they're frying it in the wok, they're shaping it, and then after that, they let it rest. That is, after the pan frying, they let it rest for not all that long, 45 minutes or so, and then they go ahead and bake it. Again, the purpose of baking is to stabilize the tea in the position that it's in to prevent mold from occurring later on. So let's go back one more time to the pan frying, because 300 to 400 degrees. We haven't talked about this much, why that ends up being so important. Because remember, with raw blacks, they're doing it at anywhere around 190, 230, something like that. And we remember from the raw blacks that when they do it that way, what happens is they're trying to actually put the microorganisms in stasis. They're not trying to kill them. With green tea, you want those microorganisms dead, really dead, because you're not attempting to do fermentation. It's no oxidation, no fermentation. So green tea is the opening round. If you had a bar graph at the bottom, it's the opening tea 0. And of course, 0 is theoretical. We all know that, but as close to 0 as possible, oxidation. Moving to the right, then white, then yellow, then oolong, then red, and then the fully fermented. Remembering, of course, that the fully fermented, in between the fully fermented and the red, there's this odd situation where you have raw black, where actually there is really some oxidation that occurs. The fully fermented actually has oxidation, but it comes later in the process. So you'll see all this information, by the way, in our blog, because we have a new article on oxidation. And this is probably one of the best ways to really understand oxidation across all the categories of tea. So I think everybody is thirsty. Looks like we've got a very full house. And why don't I have the tea master come on over and she'll demonstrate and then she'll brew with you. So without further ado, Sophie.
Hi everyone, good morning. 早上好。
你好，小贝。
Hey, everyone, 早上好。Yeah. Today, we do Peacock. Yeah. Let's tea from the Anhui Province in China. Yeah. We went to. Yeah, it's really good scenery. Yeah, beautiful. So okay, so same.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
See, I was in the wrong position here. This is again why I'm the understudy. I was exactly in the wrong position. Now we're in good shape. So
Okay.
Same setup as normal. So you see the tableau.
Yes. That's my, the sauce style. So I do in China, the tea factory. So if everyone like, so yeah, so you can sing with you together, okay? So, okay, so 1 glass. Yeah,
2
and
cups.
sugar, 2 cups. This is my style. Oh, so I work in tea factory, same thing. Oh, so yeah. So 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 4. Okay,
So Xiaobei is getting the water. You can't see me, but that's okay. You can hear me. I'm on the other side of the camera. I'm doing this side temporarily. And so for the water, the temperature, excuse me, the temperature is anywhere from 175 to 212.
So the same me so already, if you like, you can copy. Maybe we do same flavor, right? So this first, I clean. So the I still have the secret. It's top the the warming glass. So I need
So she's heating both glasses.
Can you lower the camera so we can see?
Oh, sorry.
Thank
so
you.
Right now I prepare the 170 water.
So she's drawing the 175-degree water. Both glasses have been heated.
Okay, I can see myself too, from the, so I think so, if everybody is simple, right? Yeah, looking at, so it's really good, the tea ceremony. So I start, the every day in tea factory in China. Okay, right now
Yep, so she's dissipating the heat. Actually, not the heat, the steam, aerating the water, so pouring back and forth. Why does this matter? Because you want to get the maximal flavor that you can. And one of the best ways to do that is to, again, dissipate the steam, aerate the water. It's what we call structuring the water.
And slowly, so what I do now, so I judgment, the elements of water. So yeah, this water is an eco skill, don't forget that it's really right now it's you need the process, it's fun, a lot of fun, yeah.
It is fun. There's no question. I love playing with water. Oh, wait a minute. I'm not playing with water. I love structuring water.
Yeah.
Can you, oh, I
Okay.
see.
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry about that. Good. Thought the camera had stopped there, but no.
So the tea bag we same, yeah, so 4 grams. One more time, camera, yeah, low, yeah. One more time, right?
So she takes what you will take when you do it yourself. Baggie number 3, don't do it yet. You pour it in there, that's 4 grams of tea leaves in there. You shake it.
Hop leaves wake up. This technique, I circle. You can see loose leaf, right? Yes. This cover half. I smell. What smell? Yes.
All right, and she's going to pour the water on the sides.
On side. Don't pin the loose leaf. No. Yeah.
You try not to directly hit the loose leaf. Slowly. Yep.
Ocean. Beautiful. Yeah. That's. You can see, right? Yeah. Super clean, fresh. Yeah, and also transparent. Yeah. So I call this the tea meditation, in China. Just a moment, I really require, the peaceful help my body. Okay, so I have a timer, also I printed the.
So she sets the timer for 4 minutes.
It's simple, easy, right? Yes. Okay.
And then she and I switch places. Okay. Even I felt that was a little choppy with the camera work. I'll get used to it though, and I'll do a better job. In terms of comments and questions, why don't you, it's hard for me to see the chat, so it's better if you unmute yourself if you have a comment or a question and ask me just directly, because I'm having a hard time exactly seeing if they're, oh, good. Okay, and somebody has put in the correct instructions. First steeping is 4 minutes, the second steeping is 2 minutes. All right, so you saw, and let me show you what this looks like as it's steeping. The leaves are on the top. Typically, when you're doing a needle tea or a, in quotes, tongue tea, this is the water configuration or the leaf and water configuration. Sometimes, so for example, for Junshan needle, the leaves will float up and down. in the cup. And again, it's because of that needle configuration. So this is basically one bud with a baby leaf attached to it. And that's the correct pick. And it's an early spring pick for this particular tea. All right. What else is interesting about this tea? You saw in the pictures that there was a peasant with a big basket full of tea leaves. And what we were trying to show you with that was that's an open market, and it's not that far from the village. And so they go to this open market, and then buyers. So it's out of the gated community, by the way, and buyers from all over the local area and within about 30 miles will come and evaluate the leaves and go ahead and purchase them. So you have both the sale of fresh leaves that have been picked and then the sales of the leaves that have already been processed. By and large, these are less wealthy farmers. Usually, if you go through all the steps to process, you're going to also either have a partner or go through the steps to sort and package. So, okay. At any rate, the whole, no, they already have.
Okay.
They already have. So this is nearly done. And in a minute, when you strain this, what you're going to do is do it in a slow manner and not in a hurry. And again, all these details that we tell you sometimes make you feel like there's so many details. How will I ever remember? It's just a matter of practicing. And again, if you skip or you don't do a detail properly, so long as it's not the water temperature or the grams, you're still going to come with a fine cup of tea. Remember when she structured the water and reduced the temperature, what she was doing was making sure that the brightness of the taste came through. All right, 4 minutes is up. Tea Master is back on this side.
Yeah, I still waiting out, don't rush. Yeah. So cover it, yeah. Cover it. Yeah. Okay. This is really so slowly. Don't forget really gentle, soft, slowly. Yeah, you can see me, right? Yes, this I call secret technique, right? Right now, yes. Gentle, slowly. Yeah. I like yeah. And then, usually, the teaching, the smell dry leaves here. And then you can see the tea color, right? Transparent, yes. So, okay, hold on a second. I just thank you, everybody.
Yeah. All right. So you go through the normal routine of first smelling the leaves. And remember, this was done at 175, so you can take a very good smell. Still careful, of course. And right away, you're going to sense something different about this. Okay, so I've sensed that different thing. You'll sense it in a minute. Second thing is you look at how transparent this is. Also look, it's slightly yellowish. And wow, there's lots of trichomes in this thing. All right, so it's 175 degrees Celsius. Be careful, that's a be careful, but you can take a little bit more than a 200-degree inhalation. All right. So you roll this around on your tongue. We're entering the quality arena now. So what we're looking for is an evaluation of, is it thick? Is it thin? Is it smooth? Is it a little bit sharp? What mouthfeel, where in your mouth are you getting a feeling about the tea? After you swallow it, what sort of aftertaste, if any, do you detect? And remember, in the beginning, if you don't detect very much, that's okay. You'll detect more and more over time. So don't worry about, gosh, you know, all these profiles are coming in, I don't detect them. You will over time. The second thing, or the third thing, is energetics. So there is a certain energetic that's associated with this tea, but I'm going to leave that to you to tell me. I'm going to take a second sip and confirm what I thought I understood from the first sip. So when you take that second sip, aside from the quality characteristics, you do start to think about taste and aroma, because taste and aroma, if it passes the test, this is a good quality or this is okay quality or whatever it is, then the next thing is, do I like this thing? Let me understand it from an aroma and taste perspective. And why do I like it? What is it that I distinguish about this that is, say, different from Tree of Life? This is very different from Tree of Life. And so you had Tree of Life 2 sessions ago. Think back to that. Think about your notes and when you brew it, because you're getting ready to brew right now. So I'm going to ask the tea master to come over and brew with you. And I'll go back to the choppy camera work. I apologize for that. I didn't know it was so hard back then. Of course, I'm trying to do about 5 different things at the same time, which my sister was very good at doing.
You're doing great, John. Don't worry about it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
John, I have a question. I'm just wondering
Yeah.
if,
It's
you know, when
her.
Shelby was showing how to dissipate water to get to 175 degrees in this case, can you give us a ballpark on how many times do you pour the water from one glass to the other to get to 175?
So she's starting with, the person's starting with what temperature? 212?
Yes, boiling.
Boiling.
Ah.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Here's what we suggest you do instead of that. What we suggest you do is put it in a cup and wait for 4 minutes before you start the back and forth. When you wait for 4 minutes in a 16-ounce cup, that cools it down considerably, very close to around 180 to 185. Then going back and forth over a period of about 2 minutes will get you to 175 or below. So that's how to do that.
And you can you can use your feeling, touch the water, look in the heater, you know, this heating was very important. So I learned, you know, the same, you know, you class before us, you know, science, you know, the tea factory in China, you same thing. So right now, we same, right? Yeah, this body, you know, also, I don't know, but first, definitely you need to clean, take warming first. It's help you, yeah. Slowly, yeah. Still heating, right? Hot, yeah.
So what Xiaobei is trying to get you to realize is over time, you will learn how to detect through feel, hand feel, how hot water really is. And that's really what both Xiaobei and I do now. I mean, everything is marked here. And when we do it using a pot, it's actually regulated, but you also over time start to get used to that, but that takes time.
So I teach you a little bit. So right now, so I take it's really hot, the bowl, really hot water. You test your soul, touch, right? This is the low temperature, 175. You touch it, it's different feeling, different. You can feel it, right? Yeah, temperature different, right? Yes, this 175. This 200 degree. This is the healing. It's super hot. Yeah, you can check it. So yeah, this take time. So it's the practice. So I learned the long time. Yeah. So right now so 175. Looking, I can touch. This yeah, it's everybody like learn the water. So this really use your eyes, use your feeling, so many work, yeah, take a moment. So right now, look at me, so come ready. I judgment the water right now, judgment, okay, judgment. Slowly, yeah, take the time. You can check healing, still have healing, come out. Yes, heat, yeah. So you can touch right now, the easy looking at temperature is change. When judgment the temperature, I still judgment, the water change elements. This technique, this really take time. Yeah. So I like to play, but slowly. But I call, the team meditation right now. So everything, I focus, I feeling, I'm happy to do it. Slowly, slowly. Look, it's full, right? But the temperature is lower. You can feel it, touch. Yeah, just come down. Yeah. So right now, so same, the tea bag, everybody same.
So your bag marked number 3.
Yeah. I still judgment, the elements, I still judgment the water, right? Look at one more time. If you want to learn technique, it's similar. This right now, yes. This cup is hot, super hot. I can help leaves this technique to shaking. You can check this loose leaf, right? Here, right? Yeah. The tricorn, right?
Tricorn.
Yes, you can see. And then smell.
Sorry.
Yeah. So yeah. I think so right now, so it's everybody like to learn this rubber be careful. This is really a lot of skill, on the right now. So yeah, water, don't print the loose leaf. Look, one side, slowly, gentle, some ocean, beautiful, yeah. So I like it right now. So I smell, wow, fresh, clean. Okay, 4 minutes.
It's very helpful, Xiaobei. Thank you so much for demonstrating that.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to swap places here. And there are, whoops, and there are a lot of tricks with controlling water and learning about temperature. There's tricks related to when you boil it, the size of the bubble that comes up. There's all of those things. And in future sessions, we can talk about those. But at the end of the day, the most reliable way is to develop the hand feel, because the hands don't lie. You will know when you, it's just like when you pick up something that's been cooling. Oh, did this cool 30 minutes or did it only cool 15 minutes? And your hand tells you right away what that equation is. All right, so what else is special about this particular area that the peacock tongues comes from? This area is Han peoples, but they speak a distinctly different dialect. And as such, it's really hard when you go to the village to understand them because they have such a heavy accent. And part and parcel, this is connected to the cultural terroir. Remember, I define terroir a little bit differently than many other people who talk about the climate, talk about the soil, pH, all of those type of things. I also include how the people are and what their cultural, what their starting points are, particularly in what they eat, because again, what we usually find is those who eat a heavier, using a heavier palate. In other words, it tends towards either heavy sauces or a little bit more spicy, tend to actually produce teas that also correspond to that, versus those who eat a lighter palate or more seafood type of palate, and therefore their teas tend to not be as heavy. So all of these factors play into why they produce this way. And by the way, somebody's going to ask me in a minute why this is named peacock tongues. So I'll shortcut that question. It's really, really easy. First off, it's a good translation. That's the very first thing. The second, and it's a direct translation on top of that. But the second reason I like it is because in the local dialect, they talk about this as that area's needle. Well, how many needles do I already have on the board? I don't need another needle. And I thought that the peacock tongues was descriptive enough in terms of trying to signal that it's a needle. And typically, if you see in the marketplace something that is described as either a peacock's tongue, or sometimes you see sparrow's tongue as well, and those needles, those buds, needles equals buds, right? And those buds are shorter and usually more processed. These, and it's usually a secondary process, not a primary process like these. These are a primary process. All right, tea master is going to strain the tea. And oh, and you notice she's not in a hurry.
This is slowly, you can
Slowly,
see. Yes.
deliberately. This is what you should be doing as well. And you put the leaves back into the glass because you can
Here.
get a very nice second steeping with those. And your color should look very much like
Transparent.
this.
It's really
Transparent
clean.
and a little hint of yellow. Go ahead. Okay. So now that you've done that, go ahead and smell the leaves. and then take a sip. Whoops, without knocking anything over. Yeah. Mhm. So there's a couple very distinctive flavors in this. Again, I'm not going to tell you, you're going to tell me. And oh, I suppose I must be looking at this. Ah, okay, it's like a green tea shrouded in a sweet ocean mist. I like that comment. It's very descriptive. You can really envision that. And this area frequently has those type of fogs that are wispy, and especially during certain seasons, they're warm fogs. It's really cool.
It has a smooth, slightly oily feel on the tongue.
I love this comment. A smooth, slightly oily feeling on the tongue. This is a really, really good comment. And some of you may comment slightly differently in terms of the choice of the word oily. But I like the word oily, but there's other terms you could use which would be also capture that feeling. Wet leaves have hint of sour fruit. Very slurpable. Okay, so we have two comments here. I don't detect a sour fruit. That does, oh, you said wet leaves. I still don't really detect a sour fruit. That's not an incorrect comment because you're trying to identify something. Yeah, and in a minute, I think I'll be able to clear that up with another suggestion for this, but I'm gonna wait and see if anybody else comes up with this comment. Somebody said very slurpable, and absolutely is. So the very slurpable comment always suggests that it goes down easily, a very pleasant aftertaste. It fills the mouth nicely. Let's see. I was thinking juicy, but I get the oily too. Leaves had light herbaceous umami, good. Lighter still in the liquor. As the liquor cools, it gains a sweetness. Okay, great. So a little bit of an umami. I love that. This individual is detecting an oiliness. That's good. Not as heavily, perhaps, as the first commentator. And then at the end, at the very end, a slight hint of sweetness. So there is a slight hint of sweetness without question at the very end. Yeah, go ahead.
John, I'm thinking that's sweetness from the wet leaves. It's just a whiff, you know. It's not there constantly. It's not there constantly, but when it just comes out like a whiff, and I could smell some kind of a lychee. And maybe that's where the sourness is also coming from, because lychee is kind of sweet and then there's sour in the end, you know. But
you know, I love this comment. And I love it for a lot of different reasons, because you're beginning to circle around a very interesting comment. One of you is going to get it. The cherry has the whiff of sweetness out of the leaves. And I like her use of the word whiff. In other words, you're not at the candy store. You're not smelling a constant barrage of sweetness. You are intermittently having the hints of sweetness, the whiff of sweetness. Love that comment. And Cherry sweetened it up a little bit because she said lychee. So we moved
good, yeah.
across, yes, from slightly sour into a
butter.
lychee.
It's good.
And I like that comment a lot.
I noticed that there's a bland taste, which is very welcome, you know, easy on the palate. Also, I thought maybe this is what Cherry was saying, and I just didn't get it so well, but a slight flavor of hay.
Okay, a bland taste, which is said in a positive way. And I believe that the positiveness of that Robbie indicated was it's not, it doesn't get you as bitter right away or get you as astringent right away. There is a green tea taste, and she actually amplified that at the end by talking about in the background, a little bit of hay maybe. And these are great comments because particularly the bland comment, especially the way it was said, because it was said in a positive context. And absolutely, I understand that because some green teas, and this not even use bitter and astringent because we really don't have bitter and astringent here, but some green teas stand out and tell you, hey, I'm really green, just in case you're confused. This one is, it works its way into you. It doesn't shout it out. And again, by circling around on slightly sour, maybe a lychee whiff of sweetness, all of this suggests that there's a lot going on with this. And I'm still waiting for one more attribute. So I'm looking here. Oh, good. I have several things here. A graceful tea. What a great comment. I like that. For another commentator, tastes a little bit like lotus. This tea is smooth but bright tasting, tingle on the tip of the tongue, sweet vegetal flavor, very light and airy. That's very good. It is a vegetal flavor, and it isn't, you didn't just bite into an asparagus. It's not that type of vegetal, but you're clearly moved away from grassy. Almost none of you have said grassy, which is great because it isn't. It's really about the vegetalness. And still one other flavor we'll accept. Did we get a comment on viscosity yet? No, we haven't. It spreads over the sides of the tongue. Love that comment. Love that comment. First sip of the tea made me smile, delicious. And again, I'll link that comment to the bland comment because there's no struggle understanding and appreciating this tea. I didn't say that right because this isn't an automatic understand. And you see that as we're going through several iterations, but there's no struggle in terms of accepting it as a wonderful, easy to drink. Mix that with the comment slurpable green tea. How often do you say that about green tea? Let's see. Okay. One of you, I like this comment. I consumed it too quickly. Means it was good, slurpable. And then several others have already made their second cup. That's great. And so there's a consensus on drinkability, and that's absolutely true. This is very easily drinkable. And by going at it at this pace, you can appreciate it much more than if you're having a meeting and you're not focused on this. you would miss the subtleties. All right, I'm going to help you with the one comment that, no, I'm not. I'm going to read this one. It went down quickly for me also, yet it is very calming, makes me want to take a deep breath. Love the comment. Yes, this is so easy that, again, if you're not focused, you get through the whole cup. Wait a minute, that was good. What did I just have again? And what's the quality arena and what's the characteristic? So these are all great comments. Now I'm going to, its viscosity becomes something, becomes enveloping, just right, and also energizing. Good. The energetics, I was just going to ask about that. Do you have the time to appreciate? Do I have the time to appreciate? Well, if you're asking me, yeah,
Yes.
yeah, we have plenty of time to appreciate.
Yes, of course.
It's weird trying to appreciate and do camera and think about the 10,000 things we're doing, but it's fun. It's fun. All right. The last thing that I want to, wait a minute, is this slightly warming, even though it's a green tea? So I don't get the warming, but this isn't a denial of if you're getting a warming, because remember, all of us are constructed slightly differently. I actually get kind of a neutral. Some green teas, I get a distinct cooling. I don't get a distinct cooling with it. This one, I get a neutral with this one. All right, I'm going to wrap it up here, and I'm going to say the one thing. Once you finish your sip and breath in your mouth, you get a cool feeling. Yes, you do get it. That I do. I get a cool feeling. So the one flavor we would say, which nobody mentioned, or if they mentioned, the comment went by too fast for me to detect, was a bamboo. In China, they would always say a hint of bamboo. And by the way, where this grows, there's plenty of bamboo. So it's not an accident. And as you think about it, that vegetalness is a link to the bamboo. Love this tea. Love the commentary. I know why it's Phoenix. I'm something about it's dancing, it's giving a tingly joy at the tip of the tongue. And then somebody asked, are there peacocks close by?
Peacock.
Love all these comments. That area does not grow peacocks, but love the comment nonetheless. All right, I am going to wrap it up here. I'm going to stop it here. This was a wonderful session. Loved all the commentary, loved this tea. And again, we were practicing. We're doing a practice today to see if there's any possibility that the two of us can just handle this together, especially when we're traveling. And I think the answer is yes, although you'll have to put up with a little bit of the non-professionalism that my sister brings. She brings complete professionalism. I'm still an amateur, so I'm still learning, but I'll get there. Next week, we start a new session. And what do we start with next week?
Essence.
Essence?
Yeah, problem.
Okay, we start with essence next week, and it's not in the system yet, but by days in, I'll have it in the system so that you don't have to worry, you'll be able to see. In fact, we'll put all the tea tastings all the way through this next quarter in the system within the next day or so. as usual, you guys are just great. And you always bring great humor and great sensibility to understand the tea to each of these sessions. I want you all to have a great week, and we'll see you next week. You take care now. Bye-bye.
拜拜，再
谢谢
见，
您。
再见，拜拜，
Bye.
拜拜，See you there. Yes.
I like it.